Hi, and welcome back to the DPAF, and I'm still here in Tbilisi in Georgia, but in this video I wanted to talk about how we as the British people can escape the corrupt financial system. You know, I used to think that a lot of our problems were driven by our corrupt culture, our culture of double standards, our culture of dividing our people against one another. But I now realize that it's all this corruption stems from our corrupt financial system, how we have currency that is not linked to production, that is not linked to goods and services. You know, we just keep printing more and more cash that chases fewer and fewer goods, and there is no price discovery. The British people don't know what things are worth, and that's why we have all these massive asset bubbles. We've seen it this year in properties, we've seen it in used cars, we've seen it in commodities, and what it's leading to is just more and more inflation all the time. If you look at prices of goods 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, they were a fraction of what they are now. Not that because they're more valuable now, it's just that we have more currency in circulation, chasing fewer things, and this makes us all poorer and poorer and poorer. And we're about to notice it much more because our financial system is so indebted that it's requiring the government to print more and more cash just to keep it afloat, when really what we needed to do is to collapse so we can get proper price discovery, we can find out what goods and services are properly worth, and then we can have production to match consumption. Right now we just have consumption, and there's been a lot of production occurring in the developing world or the third world over really all of my life. It's particularly escalated in the last 20 years. And of course, these countries in places like East Asia, they produce enough for themselves and they produce a little bit more for us. But when they realize that our currency isn't worth anything, which is what they're trading the surplus for now, they're going to continue to produce enough for them, but then they're going to keep the surplus for them. And it's going to raise their living standards, and it's going to decrease our living standards because we're not going to be able to import any more products. Not only are we not producing enough to sustain ourselves, but now we're not going to be able to import the difference. So, we're going to become very, very poor. We're going to be doing more work in exchange for less consumption, rather than what we have been doing for the last 20, 30 years, which is less production in exchange for more consumption. And my message in this video, the title of the video is How to Escape the Financial System. You need to start by stop supporting the financial system. You need to get your money out of the banks. I'm not giving any financial advice, but I'm just saying that if a bank is insolvent, your money is not safe in the bank. Same with the currency. If the currency is insolvent, your money is not safe in the currency. You need to move your money and store it and preserve it in assets and locations where it is safe. Capital naturally flows to where it is treated best, and the British people need to start moving to where they are treated best. And I'm all for British civil liberties. I want the British people to be treated best in Great Britain. But as we know that's now not the case, I want to encourage British people to look further afield with their money and their lives. And, I'm over here in Georgia. I'm encouraging people to come and visit here, to come and invest here, to come and move here with my company Lifeboat. But if you don't come here to Georgia, there's other places, and you need to get your money into assets where it is preserved, like I've been saying. Get it into foreign locations where it cannot be taxed to repay all this runaway debt that you did not vote for, or maybe you did vote for. But, if you want to have a healthy future, you've got to be protecting your money. Your production, your hard work during the day needs to mean something. You need to get that value rather than just be inflated away into thin air through the collapse of the pound. You need to protect it rather than it being, manipulated away or snatched away through an insolvent bank. You need to move it out of the system. And there's a lot of talk now in Britain of this Britcoin, of the digital pound. And this is just a way to enhance surveillance. We have clear laws against unlawful searches and seizures, but of course the government, they don't care about that. They are looking to spy on the British people. And of course, with digital currency, they can track every transaction. They can, track every movement of yours. They can say when you should be stopping moving or stopping spending, or when you need to increase moving or increase spending, because your digital wallet will decline if you don't spend quickly enough. And it totally violates unlawful searches and seizures. It totally violates the right to privacy. This is what the British government has become, and it's all driven by corrupt money, a corrupt financial system. So I want to encourage you to think about this very carefully. Get out of the financial system, escape the financial system before it's too late. Asset prices now are very, very, very inflated. It's a great time to sell. As I said, I'm not giving any financial advice. I'm just talking totally hypothetically. I'm talking in a totally logical way. If something is overvalued, sell it. If something is undervalued, buy it. If you have a bank that is insolvent, get your money out of it. If you have a tax environment that is stealing more and more of your wealth, get out of it. That's total common sense advice, but it's advice that the British people need to heed now, because we're going into a very, very dark winter and very, very dark times financially. How can we have a year of no production, but continue with our money printing, continue with our consumption, and that not have an effect? When do we have the reverse lockdown where we have nothing but production and no consumption? I suspect it's coming very, very soon. I want to just end on a couple of these coronavirus statistics, and been tracking the deaths per million since the coronavirus began, and Britain with its NHS heroes is at 1,946 deaths per million of the population with 3 lockdowns. And you look at Afghanistan, that just beat us in the Afghan war that lasted 20 years. The Taliban back in power, they have had, they won throughout the virus, despite the virus, and we lost despite the vaccines. We have 1,946 deaths per million. They have 178. We've got the great NHS. I don't even know if they have a hospital in Afghanistan, but they have 178 deaths per million. People say, well, David, a lot of these people are too busy fighting to get bogged down by the virus. What about Belarus, where I visited last year? I think they have 400 deaths per million, so twice as bad as Afghanistan, but a fraction of the deaths that we had, again, with no lockdown. So you have no lockdown, you get hardly any deaths. You have 3 lockdowns, you have 1,946 deaths per million. I can't quite explain it, but I'm sure, some experts in government will be able to come on TV and explain all this stuff very, very clearly. So I hope you like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please check out the new website, lifeboatnow.com, and we'll talk to you soon.